I'm Jessica Ellicott. I'm a mystery writer and I'm one of the Wickeds. And today I'm going to be having a chat with my friend Julia Spencer Fleming about goal setting and planning and all sorts of those kinds of things that are fun at the beginning of the year. So stick with me and you'll get to drop in and hear what we're chatting about. So, since we're talking about writing sort of in general,
Yeah.
um, do you have any advice for other writers about their own kind of goal setting?
I, I would say first and foremost, if you're just starting out, set a goal. There are so many people begin a novel and never get to the end of it because it's
Mm-hmm.
hard, as we've been saying, it's that elephant or the mural. I think if you're starting out, give yourself a deadline, set yourself a goal, whether it's a daily goal or, I'm going to write however many words you can per day, or a monthly goal, or just I'm going to finish this book by June, and then set yourself a goal for I'm going to send it out to agents. I'm going to send it out to one agent every month or, every two
Hmm.
weeks, however it does it. And I think for all of us who are working writers, yeah, I feel like goals are necessary. It's for me, the smaller the goal, the more likely I am to do it. So for me, the goal is going to be today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Hmm. Hmm. I've
That's a
seen you
goal.
do it.
Yes, I know you have seen me do it. I have late in life diagnosed ADD, which makes focusing on things a challenge for me. So, I would say probably my best advice to writers would be learn how your brain works
Mm.
and plan accordingly. You are a fabulous long-term goal setter.
Well,
You
thank you,
you
Julia.
were naturally fall or you love falling into that organizing thing. So that works for you. So
Yeah.
everybody has got a form of a goal setting that's going to work for them. The trick is to figure out which one that is.
Yeah, I would agree. For me, the being um, naturally inclined towards goal setting and planning. I know for me, a small, achievable, not stretching kind of thing, like, but that I can check it off and I can feel like focused on it. Um, that is, it doesn't do it for me. Like the more audacious, the better, because like that I feel so energized by things that are audacious. Um, like no joke, my second book
Uh-huh.
with my first agent, because my first book was with a micro press and unagented. I was talking with an agent about working on proposal,
Yeah.
and it was the first time I'd done this, and he was talking to me about, well, when could I have it ready? And I said, how soon do you need it? And he said, well, would 2 weeks be enough? And I took a deep breath and I'm like, yes, I could get it done in 2 weeks. And he's like, great. So that would be like 50 pages and some comps for other kinds of books. I'm like, you don't need the whole novel? I had agreed to do the whole novel in 2 weeks. And for me, that was like, I got this. Like, it was very energizing to consider. I felt almost a little deflated, relieved, but a little deflated when it wasn't like, I need 75,000 words that make sense in 2 weeks from today.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
audacious
Yeah.
goals, that's really my jam. But
Yeah.
I do need to cut them down and bring them into daily tasks to get there. But I like the big
So
goals.
the author uh Jennifer Cruzy,
Mhm.
who does these wonderful sort of romantic women's, they're kind of hard to pin down, but they're fabulous, her novels. And she teaches about writing. And one of her trademark phrases is, there are many roads to Oz. And
Mm.
I think that is so important for us to remember as writers, because there's so many people out there saying, this is the way to get your book published, or this is the way to become a New York Times bestseller, or this is the way to become super productive. But really, what it starts with, as you know, you and I are a good illustration of, because we're very different
Hmm.
in this, is you have to learn what is actually going to work for you, to motivate you, to, to get that productivity, get your, to set goals and meet them. And then you can move forward. In some ways, it doesn't matter what technique or what size goals or how you reward yourself for the goals or don't. It's self-knowledge. What's going to work for me? What does not work for me?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like it really does. That's a little bit of a confidence piece too, isn't it? Like to be able to listen to what's being said, listen to people's passion and recommendations and confidence about what's working for them,
Right.
and being able to evaluate it sort of from a place of neutrality and ask, well, just because I admire their success or I admire their career or they seem really sure of themselves and I'm feeling very unsure, that backing up and saying, does this feel like it makes sense for me? The things I know about myself, the things that have worked in the past. Do I feel excited to try that? But because it feels intrinsically interesting as opposed to I just want to have that same kind of success or experience. Yeah, knowing yourself and having the confidence to say, nope, not for me, or yeah, I'm going to go and give that a go, I think really matters.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
you can waste a lot of time and beat yourself up for
Yes, yes.
unnecessarily.
Why doesn't this work for me? Well, because you're a very different person. And, it's not, it doesn't make your brain go ding-a-ling-a-ling. So,
iPhones and other cell phones are actually able to be charged in Europe and they're able to be charged in the US, but
yeah.
we don't have the same chargers. You need an adapter, right? To go
Right.
from
Yeah.
the two places with your own charger to work in the outlets in the buildings in these two different types of places. And I think it might be a little like that. Everyone has the capacity to be charged up,
Yeah.
fueled up, ready to go, but they have to recognize that they have the way that they do that. And
Yeah.
it's not going to work when it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking about, you said something about rewards. So I'm looking
Oh,
down at my,
yeah.
my
About,
paper. So
what
rewards.
rewards
Do
you.
you
Yeah.
do you find that you respond to rewarding yourself? Do you set up rewards for yourself with
I
goals and you
don't
reach them?
I don't really set up rewards for myself, although, I wouldn't say no when I finish something to, a pint of Ben and Jerry's Chunky Monkey. But
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
um yes, thank you. You can stock it in next time I visit. But to me, the reward is very internal. I wish I was
Mm.
externally motivated. Is extrinsically motivated?
They're
I
both.
don't,
It's
both of them.
yeah.
It's not, deadlines don't motivate me.
Famously.
I love the sound of the deadline as it goes whooshing past my head. Um, but the feeling of getting something accomplished, getting it done, off my plate, completed, fulfilling my obligation, that feels terrific.
Mhm.
And, one of the things that I'm trying to do in this coming year is to be very mindful of how that feels, because recalling that emotion and being able to hold it out as a little carrot in front of me helps me a lot to recognize that's going to be my reward for sticking to it and meeting, today's goal, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find that I feel surprisingly motivated by like checking things off a list or
Mhm.
moving things from a sticky note in a Kanban system that's in the doing column into the done column. I I agree. I don't respond to outside rewards at all well. Like the idea of having um an experience or a prize or like anything like that that I would give
Yeah,
myself. after accomplishing something, it it makes no it just wouldn't it falls
Yeah,
completely
and
flat for me.
it's funny because you would think you and I are both professional authors. This is what we do. This is how we make our living. I mean, I have a side gig as a I teach a class, but it's exactly that. It's a side gig. Um, you would think you would be able to say, well, you're motivated because you get paid when you finish your book. I don't actually know. I can't think of any authors whose primary motivation is I'm writing this because I'm going to get a check at the end of
Yeah.
it. It would be nice if we were all, that would be easier, but it's for some reason it's not like having a job. I mean, I've had a lot of jobs in my life where I show up because I need to. I need that check.
Well, I
Um,
think part of it is that most authors, if not all authors, novelists anyway, um, you aren't getting paid before you've gotten that first novel written, right? That's like it's a speculative gamble for that first novel. So you enter
yes.
it from the
Yes.
the pleasure of doing the actual writing, but also the idea that you might like to um, get to the
I'm
place that you've
pinching my
accomplished that.
cheek for those of you who are listening to this without seeing it because as the light changes in my house, I'm becoming more and more ghostly
Ghostly.
looking. Like I'm fading away.
You pinch all you need.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I think the other thing is that in the publishing world, the work and the royalty payments or advance payments are so disconnected
Oh,
from the
yes.
work itself in space and time that it doesn't feel like these things are merged. I don't know if that's true for all authors. It's definitely true for me that it doesn't feel connected because it's such a gap between the daily work and even the turning in and even
Yeah.
the release of the book
Yeah.
with like advances and royalties that
Yes.
it doesn't it just doesn't, it's not like I worked 40 hours, I punched my time card, it reflects 40 hours, and my check is for 40
Yeah.
hours.
Woohoo. Then yeah, in 2 weeks every 2 weeks I get money from it. That's interesting because I believe for those of us who are traditionally published by, you and I are both published by Big Five publishers. Yeah, and they also hold back royalties against returns. And sometimes, you'll be seeing royalties pay out in your biennial payments that you earned like 3 years before, and they're just
Yes.
now landing in your bank account. I
Yes.
would be very interested to know um, if it feels different for self-published authors who are, from my understanding, can be much more closely linked, the writing to the putting it up to the production, let's call it the production
Hmm.
side, to actually seeing money. I mean, I wonder if
I
that
bet
changes.
I bet that it feels more connected. I don't know
Mhm.
that it's more motivating. It might be
Yeah.
for some, I think that's a writer by writer situation
Mhm.
probably, but I expect it does fix some of that connected thing
Mhm.
because there are so many people who do like a more rapid release schedule in the
Yeah.
independent publishing community that I think you would see those results in
Yeah.
much more like real time as opposed to
Years
time doesn't time
afterwards.
doesn't exist in traditional publishing. It's like the wheels of God grind slow but exceedingly fine. It's like that with
Yeah,
publishing,
exactly.
the dollars of publishing grow. Yeah, I think it's a lot like that. So that would be interesting. I'd be curious to speak with some indie authors about their experience with it,
You
feeling
need to
like,
find some and do this
yeah,
with it.
have a chat, see what they have to say
Mhm.
about it. That would be
Mhm.
fun.